Here we are with another vacation example. I hit upon this nice waterfall, but there was a very high dynamic range going on here. This portion was very, very dark, as you can see in this image. The exposure on the rocks is a little bit better, but I've lost a lot of detail in the leaves. If I look at this example, it was taken just 1 second after another. This was 1/350th of a second at f4. The other one was 1/500th of a second at 6.7. So it's the same image, two different exposures. I'm just going to select both of them, shift, click. Now two of them are selected. I go over to photo, and I'm going to do a photo merge, HDR. Most people think of HDR as high dynamic range, and you need at least 3 or 4 or 5 images, but you can actually just do it with 2 images. And let's see what we get. And there we go. So now we have detail in the leaves, and this detail has been brought in. So what it takes is the detail in the dark parts and the detail in the bright parts and brings them together. We'll just merge those. And now instead of having 2 images, we will have, as soon as this is finished up here, it's combining. There we go. Now it's doing the preview. There it is, building 1.1 preview, and boom, this one's now popped in. So we have image 2476, 2477, and this one says 2476 HDR.dng. DNG is the digital negative. So I can actually manipulate this image like any other one. So I can bring, the highlights has already been brought down a little bit. I can bring them down a little bit more. So this has got a little bit more texture. This is okay over here. The whole thing's a little bit bright. I'm going to bring the whole thing down a little bit more. Whoops, not too much. And bring the shadows up a little bit. And I think I'm liking that. Maybe I'm going to brush a little bit more highlights in the water over here. So I'm just going to see I'm using feather of 100%, flow is about 50%, maximum density. And I have nothing selected over here, so I'm just going to brush for now. And let's just leave it at that. And I'll just bring up the exposure a little bit on the water. Bring up the texture on the water a little bit. Clarity. There we go. And it's a little bit bluish. Maybe see if I can bring that water down. A bit of a yellowish tinge. I don't know, something around there. This whole area is still very bright. Maybe put more emphasis on that. I'll just kind of bring something around there and reduce the highlights on that. Maybe something like that. Okay, let me see. Maybe go back to this this thing here. See if I can bring up a little bit more of the highlights. And I'm going to make the brush a square bracket. Bring the brush down a little bit in size, and just do a little bit of painting. All I'm doing is just adding a little bit more of these settings over here. And bring up the exposure even more. Not bad, not bad. This leaf over here is a little bit bright. I'm just going to bring that one down. So I'm just going to draw a big, whoops, didn't click that properly. Hello. There we go. There's my circle. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger over here. So the center of my circle is right on that leaf, and I'm just going to reduce the highlights. Actually, if you look at it, I'm actually affecting everything outside the circle, not inside. That's not what I want. So I'm actually going to change that, invert it, and now just taking the edge off that leaf. There we go. I'm just going to hit the I key to get rid of this writing over here. So this circle I could extend it, but maybe I'll just take a brush and brush in over here a little bit. Maybe some of this. Darken some of this over here too. And if ever you want to see what you've done, hit the O key. And anything that's got some tint to it is where you've painted, right? So I can paint over here, and then I can hit the Alt key, and I can erase it. And hit the O key again. And I like to keep, by the way, that's where my toolbar is missing. I like to keep this mask set up as only visible when I'm over here. So when I come over here, the effect doesn't show. Let me try this again. So it's set to auto as opposed to always show, selected, or never. I keep it to auto. So if I come over here, you see this dot. It tells me what I've selected and what I haven't. But this thing goes away when I come away from the picture. So hit the backslash key. This is where I started. This is where I ended. And probably good enough for now. I'm sure I can do some more refinement, but let's see what else I have before I spend too much time on this.